talking about I to E ratios, which is a ratio for inspiratory time to expiratory time. It's very important to remember that a ratio is not the same thing as a fraction. So in a fraction, you're having the number over the total, so it's almost like a percentage, but in a ratio, it's more of, for this much of this, you're doing this much of this. So a good way to turn your ratio into a fraction, which is what most people are a lot more comfortable using, is to change it to that fraction so it's easier to use for your math. In order to do so, you're going to be adding the two numbers. So if we had a ratio of 1 to 2, we know one part of it is this for every two parts that are, are that. Same with 1 to 3, there's one of this for every 3 of that, there's one of this for every 4 of that. So in order to figure out how many total pieces of the pie you have, so you add them together. So I know this is going to be an interesting explanation, but an easy way to think of it is like this with pie. So if you think one side is, this is how many pieces of vanilla pie you have. This is how many of chocolate pie you have. So for every one slice of vanilla, you have 2 slices of chocolate. So you have a total of 3. So you're just adding the 2 sides together. So to make a fraction out of this, all you're going to do is add the 2 numbers. So we've got, and that will be our bottom number. So that's our total, because the bottom number of a fraction is always the total. And so if I'm being asked, okay, well, what fraction of that is vanilla? We would do 1 slice of vanilla out of 3 total slices, so 1/3. Same with the 2, we do 2/3. So it's the same with I to E ratios. So your I is your vanilla pie, your E is the chocolate. I came up with the analogy as I was making this, but I'll erase that. Our goal, I do. So our goals are 1 to 3 and 1 to 4. So not 1/3 of the breath being an inhale, but for every 1 second inhaling, you're spending 3 seconds exhaling. Or for every 1 second inhaling, you're spending 4 seconds exhaling. So you're spending a total of 4 seconds or a total of 5 seconds. Write them over here. And here's the fractions as well. Now, to add on top of this, if you've got a respiratory rate of, let's say, I'll just do a respiratory rate of 10. So if you've got a respiratory rate of 10, then you know you're breathing 10 times every minute. So you're breathing every 6 seconds. So now you know you're taking a breath every 6 seconds. So now you need to figure out, using your fractions, how much of that is spent inhaling and how much is spent exhaling. So it's just kind of like the PF ratios. So we're going to be using cross multiplying. So we want to know for inhaling, let's do inhalation with the 1 to 3 first. So we take our fraction from over here, and we've got 4x equals 6. So 6 divided by 4 is 1.5 for inhaling. And then we can do the same for exhaling. So we've got 4x equals 6, 18, so 4.5. We know that we have our total of 6 seconds, and we are spending 1.5 seconds of that inhaling and 4.5 seconds exhaling. So then to check your math, you add these two together, and if they equal your total time, you know you did it correct. But the easiest way for me is just to turn the ratios into the percents by adding the two sides together. That was the